31. Could we get approval of the minutes from the last meeting?
Call it roll call.
Or roll call, whatever you prefer.
Can I do roll call?
Please do.
Bruce,
Here.
Roger,
Here.
Karen,
Here.
and Brad is absent.
We have a quorum. We will continue. Of course, now we will look for some approval of the minutes.
I approve the minutes as, make a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bruce,
Aye.
Steve,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Karen.
Yep.
Okay, motion passes. Okay. The floor is yours.
So the first item for discussion was for any additional map alternatives. So if anyone had any additional thoughts since the last meeting, as we finalize what the maps for the public would look like ahead of our public notice. So if you had any comments from Brad, this might be good.
Yes, Brad did. We're A and B now, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
which one was G?
So proposed option A is the former A3, and proposed option B is now the former G.
Okay, he expressed support for the former option G, which is now B. But that was just his preference, so.
So nothing else that he had, okay, that was kind of my impression from.
No, and he just wanted to make sure to thank everybody for the effort and apologize for not being able to be here. So
Did you tell him
I did not, but next time I get the opportunity, I will share that.
So then in proceeding with options A and B, Raphael did do some cleanup just for those areas that were 0 blocks. So the census blocks with a 0 population that might not have actually fit or followed a section line or a township line. He cleaned those up just so that way we have nice lines. No, Raphael, if you want to point those out. You can use your mic.
Oh, I have a mic. For example, this one over here,
Yeah, but okay, which map is he on? Which option is he on though?
this is option A, proposed option A.
Raphael is starting with proposed option A.
So this was a kind of long 0, which didn't follow the section line here. So I just cut it off because nobody lives here anyways. Right, just to follow the section line instead of some random line.
And the importance being that not only does no one live there now, but most likely no one will ever live there. So. And then you had one other area, I think, too, right?
There were a lot of small ones that didn't follow.
Oh, Roger, what are you pointing out? Oh,
Here?
yeah. So yeah, so Yeah, so purple is District 5. Oh, Roger, can you use your mic?
Okay, question is over on the east side, east of, what'd you say? It was County Road 9? 85B, then that's all in District 5 then? Those subdivisions that are over there? Okay,
Yep, so everything east of the river. And that little piece of the city of Williston that's on that east side is primarily industrial. There's a
Okay.
handful of people.
is that the stuff up on the hill, right there? Yeah.
Well, the
That's where the
85,
pea plant
B.
and that is.
Yeah, it goes up where the houses are along that area,
And that has been currently District 5.
that it was before
Yeah,
too.
it's before, before.
Okay.
Nothing's changed that way.
It's just those townships to the north that have changed in much
Yes.
for District 5, yeah.
Yes.
This,
Yeah,
right. so
that's where the housing is along there too.
that's a subdivision there that's,
Oh, that's the Meadows or,
Yeah, I think that's currently District 5. Beth.
huh?
It's currently District 5.
It was.
It's currently District 5.
yeah, right
Oh, I
now.
thought you guys changed that to blue.
Yeah, we are proposing it to be changed to blue.
Right.
Yeah,
But it used to be 5 is what I said.
yeah,
Because, and that was the changes that we had made to option G, now B, the last time, is to keep those districts contiguous since they are in the city of limits and people do live there. There were documented populations in there, people are building houses.
are there people, is there houses in there though?
Yes,
Oh, it is. It's the ones along East Highland Drive then, as it goes north, huh? Toward Shealy, is that Shealy's up in the corner?
This is over by, that's over by Knife River and around and through there.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's up there, okay.
Yeah, this is when you go along 85B.
Yeah.
All of this route here.
So really, the only person that it is loggers. I think loggers have lived right here.
Yeah, there's like 3 houses there, or 4 houses.
yep. So I think there were 11 people documented in this census block.
There's a couple more, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the other small one. Because it was the same case with that other bump out to the south. That's right along the river. There's actually 47 people, so we had made that change as well to make it contiguous with the district and the city.
I have a question. Yeah, when you go down, like, sort of on the southeast side of, there's like a little dip goes in. Yeah, that part right there you point out, Raphael. Yeah, that little thing that goes in. Yeah, go up.
The one by the river.
Yeah, is there a reason why that doesn't follow like the straight line rather than?
That one's following the township line.
Oh, okay. Oh, but it doesn't show that it doesn't show that way on our
I think, well, Raphael, you have proposed B. Okay, so option A, maybe we should clean that. There's no one that, it's a 0 one. But yeah, we could,
just
we could
a
clean
cleaner
that.
line, yep.
Yep.
So it would be the same in both proposals then? Yeah.
Also kind of clean a little bit more straighter, kind of, is there some way to encompass anything above that angled part up there? Is there some way to encompass something of a straighter line so that it's either follows like township line or a section line or?
That's the city line.
Up north of that is, up north of that is there's a subdivision out there, right? We want to definitely capture those people within the city limits.
I think we made that, I'm sorry, which area are you referring to?
Where the arrow is pointing at right now, I was
Yes.
just wondering if there's some way to capture an area so it's either a more cleaner, straighter line that follows either a section line or township line.
So I think that area, Raphael, can you move it slightly to the left, please? Sorry, it's on that. Yeah, that works. Because it was, I don't know if it was confusing just because it was on the, remember the line of the monitor. So in this case, District 2 is following the boundary of
Of the city.
the city. And I want to say, I think actually for option B, Raphael, do we have it cut off at the township line? We do. And so I think on that side, it's all industrial, and there might be, oh, this is the one that it has a 0 block and it has an 8 block, and the blocks actually are cut at East Broadway. And so this is something where the southern block says that there's 8 people living there. It's actually all industrial. So either way, it's not necessarily adding a real population to District 5. And you could go either way on how you want to cut that. So if you backed it up, I think so just option B has that area in District 5 following the township line, and option A has it following the city limits. And so it really could go either way. If you want to propose an amendment to option A to use the township line, we could certainly back that up. But population-wise, it's negligible in changing the numbers, and ultimately it's industrial. So I don't know if from a development standpoint, if it makes sense putting it into 2 districts, but that was something that I actually thought it was all zeros until we were doing some of the cleanup.
Can
And
you
it was
go
highlighted.
ahead and show this as option B?
So option B does draw the difference between them at the township line.
If we're gonna do that, if we're gonna do that. Involved with this district at all, 'cause there's nobody there, nobody will ever be there, put it as this purple there.
Sorry, wouldn't it make more sense then to just leave it all of the township line?
It looks a lot cleaner that way when we follow township lines.
This
Right.
way?
Right, yeah.
Because then from a legal description standpoint as well, it's a lot easier to describe and set boundaries for.
But A has it in it, right?
Right. And it doesn't really, and the thing is it really could go either way, again, because we thought the whole area was 0. And we just kind of missed this
So-
spot when we were shoring up township lines, until we noticed that the bottom block had 8, but it's literally a storage yard. So there could have very well been people that were filling out the census that lived in temporary housing or were living in their vehicles. But from a voting standpoint, you vote based on your address. And remember, the census is based on where you live most of the time. And you don't even necessarily need a physical address to complete the census. So in terms of debating 8 people for a precinct purpose, there's not necessarily residential addresses that they would possibly be living at.
Would it
I'd have
make
to say
sense
that
to
would-
clean this up on this one? I
We
mean, just
could,
for, just
If
for,
you want to move it back to the township boundary.
because that was
Okay.
one of the goals of, that Karen had mentioned, is to try to follow township
What-
boundaries first, right?
Why do we have this little flicker green here?
It's likely just the shape of the block. Yeah. Yes, the dew flicker is a residual effect of the shape of a census block.
Well, can't we clean that up too so it looks better?
And that's why we're having this lovely conversation. Not at the public hearing, so.
Right. Good point. well, they created an island out there, so.
Okay, so on option A, we'll back up that industrial area to move it west to follow the township boundary for District 2.
Makes sense.
Any other areas, Raphael, you wanted to point out, or any other questions?
Can you just go to option B on the bigger? Is that option B? Oh, because on my bigger map for option B, it shows, yeah, it shows part of that brown shoe part.
There's a point, is that what you're saying?
Yep, that was the other area that he cleaned up, was the area at Highway 2. So, Raphael, nope, option B.
Yeah,
And then the south, yep, that corner right there. Yep, so those had census blocks, always 0 individuals. It was essentially like land easements. It was literally a ditch.
the other option
um,
wasn't right, was it? When you had the other part of option B, not the inset, but that was different. Or at least I thought it was.
I think
I
they
guess-
changed it, got it right now.
Yep, so in terms
Oh,
of just versions, yeah, this is the one. It extended further out. So that wedge to the left of the, whatever road that was.
Yep, no, that makes
Followed
sense.
the bypass there.
Yep.
Oh, so we're leaving it as is because it's following the road there, or as opposed to a straight line, or?
So it follows the section line, and then it follows Highway 85 because there are people that live on the east side of that area.
That makes sense because the road actually changed position there. It moved, the road literally moved to the east.
All right, can we then just go to the east a little bit there? No, to the east, yeah. We're talking the North Dakota east at Raphael, not the Florida east yet. Yeah, just a little bit more. So the question I have at the bottom, where it's like, it's not like a straight line there at the bottom of district, is that 4? Yeah. Is there some
2
way,
and 4.
yeah, is there some way to clean that, to make that?
My guess is you needed the population, and that's why the line moved the way it did.
Well, and it's a really awkward long census block that follows along the bottom.
It's industrial down there too, right?
Yeah,
It
would
is.
be
It's all it down
And-
there.
industrial down there, yeah.
So it at least can follow Highway 1804 and then follows the section line. But underneath of there, to pull that whole area in, there's an awkward, really long block that goes past the section lines.
It basically
Okay.
follows the truck route.
Yeah.
As it comes through town.
Okay.
Yeah. Should be First Avenue West.
All right, well then, if you go up to the screen on yeah, right there where that little purple is, that triangular purple thing, I mean, is there some reason why that's not cleaned up? or is
That
it-
was fixed. So that's what we showed initially. That was the first one. Yep.
So if it was fixed, how come it doesn't show fixed on up there then?
It does on the right-hand side. So he's using this online census map that you all have access to. That has all of the fixes in place. He's just using the tool as a reference. Because in the tool, we can't fix the boundary lines manually. That's a process he has to do outside of that program. So at least for comparison, he's just using it.
Correct.
Okay, Didi.
Anything else? Great. Okay, so we will clean those things up. Do we need another motion for that or? Okay. There's no significant impact to the population changes, so.
I mean, because in the end, we'll have a public hearing on this and we'll be talking about this, so.
Okay, great. We'll make those changes then. Okay, so in terms of the public hearing, the next item for discussion is determining the format of a public hearing. So we've done, since this is a topic with a little bit more substance than sometimes some of our public hearings are of nature, do you want a formal presentation of the maps to be a part of the public hearing and then it goes to comment? Or how do you want to do that?
I think that would be good to have, show the past and the current lines and the populations and how it's all changed, and then the two different proposals that we are putting up forward. Maybe some other things, or you think of something else, or?
As far as population, what do you mean? Like on the bottom where they have the little grid thing and shows the population of each one, that kind of population, like this?
I guess that's what I meant, yeah. Just,
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessary, but it would give everybody an idea of what it's went to, or why it has to be that way.
And then something that like planning and zoning does with regards to public hearing is they allow email comment up until a certain point of time. And something that we've discussed for like the parks open houses that are coming is an option for people to submit comment online. Like we can set a web form up on our website. So if we want to offer a virtual option for public comment, we can certainly do that. We'll put the links for the maps. We can actually link to the online maps. We can put those up on our website with a form that people can fill out in the event that they can't attend the public house in person. And then we could set a deadline for when those comments are received and to be able to provide them to you all prior to the public hearing.
That's a good idea. I think that's going to be the only way we get any public participation, would be my guess, if any.
So if we do that, would it be okay to set, so the public hearing is on Monday, the 15th. If we set the deadline as maybe Wednesday, the 10th, it would give people a little over a week to do it, and then it would give us some time to curate those.
Good call.
I don't know if the 10th is quite enough time, because it's being printed on the 5th and going out in the public notices in the papers. People won't get it till the 8th, 9th, maybe even, so.
So November 5th is what our official legal notice requirement is.
Yeah.
But the intention would be, from a communications department standpoint, is that tomorrow we would actually release a press release, do the announcement. During our Board of County Commission meeting tomorrow, I'll provide the board with a redistricting update with these details and information. So this information will start getting disseminated tomorrow, which will have a lot wider reach than
Okay.
the newspaper. But I mean, honestly, the 10th is the Wednesday. The 11th is Veterans Day, which is a federal holiday. Then the 12th is a Friday, and the 15th is a Monday. So
Yeah, okay.
Do you think that maybe to get maybe more public circulation, because I don't know if everybody reads the paper, gets the paper, do you think it might be worthwhile to also publish it in the shopper? I mean,
if you as a board agree that you would like to expend funds to publish in the shopper, that is something I can figure out with the finance department, but that's a kind of a board decision you would need to make. I will say by default, our press releases go to the Williston Herald, the Tioga Tribune, our TV, the KX News and KUMV, and then various radio stations in town as well. So
I don't want to discredit this board in any way, but I think if people are interested, they definitely will participate at some level. You know,
The public will figure it out.
And will
If
we
they want it,
allow
they'll find it.
call-in comments too, or
Not during the public hearing.
not during or
If you really want to, we can. In my experience, it's really cumbersome to do it on a phone because you can't always tell exactly who's online to give a comment. And it's hard to be able to facilitate that as you would in person. So that's why typically and now, especially since our meetings are back in person and we're back in the rooms, we allow that the in-person comment, or they can do a virtual comment beforehand. If they wanted to call and like leave a message with any of you or with myself, I can always document that as a comment and have that submitted to the board prior to the meeting. But we typically don't allow public comment via phone.
it worked all right during the school annexation hearings, but I don't know that means anything, but I mean, I'm not saying we should do it necessarily. I just brought it up whether we're going to do it or not, so.
It's really your decision as a board. When you did it for the school annexation ones, did you know who was going to be calling in to give the comment?
I don't think so. They had to identify themselves before they could make a comment.
Because I wonder if the hard part is facilitating folks who dial in late, or we would have to kind of open up a certain time to allow it. It's just kind of a lot of work for what might not actually be that many people.
Yeah, that's fine.
But ultimately, it's your decision, and I'll do whatever you ask me to.
What do you think, Steve?
We should make it as easy as possible, but I do think that there is if there's a passion to engage in this discussion, I think there's an effort that would be made. And so I think going above and beyond invites bad actors potentially in trying to disrupt what we are set out to do. So not to say that there's bad actors out there, but there is.
So then do they need to make a motion to go ahead and have public comments until Wednesday the 10th at 5 o'clock?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Steve,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes?
Karen,
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And then the only other item to talk about is you do have a regular meeting scheduled for November the 10th. Do you want to keep that or cancel that at this point?
There's really no reason to have it, but
Only reason we'd have to have something if the public comments coming prior to that changes something.
Yeah, I suppose we can always cancel it at a later date. Can't
But
we?
the public comments you're not going to get in until November 15th. Well, the 10th is already passed.
Right. The intention of the public comments is that they're addressed at the public hearing. Yeah.
yeah, there really is.
Yeah, it's just if we don't make our decision that day for some unknown reason, then we would need that other meeting.
Well, the public
No.
hearing is November 15th, and then that's being
Oh,
scheduled
that's
as
the
a
10th. Oh.
as a special meeting with the public hearing, so that gives you the opportunity to discuss after that public hearing. And in the event that you don't make a decision and you're not ready to on the 15th, you could always schedule another special meeting, or you have a regularly scheduled meeting for December 8th.
I'm sorry, I was mixed up. You're
It's
right.
okay. There's a lot going
You're
on.
right.
So I'll need a motion to cancel that meeting.
Yeah.
I'll move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to cancel the November 10th meeting. Is there any discussion?
Bruce confused me, I think, so.
Well, that's a given. Okay, any additional discussion? Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Roger,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Steve?
Yes. Motion passes. Okay. Any other,
Yeah, because I want to go back up to this determined format of public hearing. You know, we talked about having, you know, the maps of the population, but the question is, who's going to present that really? I mean, are you going to do that, Lindsay, or?
Oh, I thought you were going to do that, Karen.
No,
I
I
can-
just want to make sure that that somebody's going to be presenting that, and that we also not include that, but we also include the statutory requirements in terms of what we're supposed to be looking at, the township lines, compact, contiguous, and the population, so. So I'm going to make a motion that Lindsay prepare and present, you know, have some sort of presentation for the public at the public hearing.
I'll second it.
okay, is there any discussion? You're lucky, Lindsay, you're lucky.
Very surprised,
Yeah.
too.
Okay, any additional discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Karen,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Roger.
Yes,
motion passes.
I heard the train coming as we were doing that. Well, no, she knows everything. I didn't mean to
That's a, no, you definitely meant that, sir, too.
She's the one that knows all this stuff.
Yeah, so I'll do Robbie, I'll have the maps up. I'll do a general presentation, kind of present the basis of what the process is, where we are today, what has been proposed, and then I imagine you just open up to public comment and questions, so.
Fantastic. In our previous meetings, including today, has there been any outside public participation from a viewing perspective?
Not that I'm aware of. Usually the numbers are
Okay.
zero.
And so, I mean, based on past history, I would suspect that we're very little public participation. But again, not to discredit anything, because we're doing important work, but, and we're making every effort to get the public's involvement. And so I think that's the point being made here.
I think with the option of, with the alternative being presented with having Trenton in a different district, that is a significant change, and that might garner some feedback. And as we discussed the last meeting too, we'll make sure we reach out to TISA so that they are aware.
Perfect.
Do we need to have a motion to approve the November 15th agenda?
We don't normally have motions to approve agendas, but this of the approval of minutes and then the discussion.
I do have a request, or maybe I'm out of place by making it, but I think that Bruce and I should get paid mileage at least. I mean, we don't need to get paid for the meetings, but I mean, everybody else is on county time, you might say, or whatever, and
You guys aren't getting reimbursed for this?
that's what I understand.
It would be a board
So-
decision. The difference with this board than some of our others is that this is a Century Code board as opposed to a authorized by Williams County Commission board. So it would be just a board decision, and then I would work out with the finance department where the funding would come from. Because also technically the board doesn't have any funding, but we do have a way that we could, there's a fund for non-BOCC boards that we could use and apply towards funds. So it would be up to the board to agree that.
I would make a motion for the non-employee, non-elected officials to be paid and reimbursed for mileage
Because we typically do $100 per meeting.
per meeting, yeah. And so this would include the
Well,
per meeting.
that
fee.
part of it, I don't care one way or the other, but I just thought the mileage would be more appropriate anyway, but
Well, I think it's,
whatever they decide.
yeah, no, in my motion would include the typical board fee, because that's being consistent and fair and including mileage, and you guys are valued and appreciated, so.
I myself personally think I don't need anything because it comes out of one pocket into the other one. It's our taxes, so.
But you've at least stepped forward to make the effort, Bruce, that's appreciated.
I volunteer for everything.
Yeah.
I'll vote for this too.
Well, I've made a motion there, we need a second for any further discussion.
I second.
Okay, we've got a second. Any additional discussion?
Yeah, but this would apply to all of the meetings we've had in the past though too. So we
Yes,
do
post-
$100 per meeting plus mileage for all the meetings then, yep. Except Roger, of course.
That wasn't a part of any motion, that was just discussion, yes. It is appreciated, and thank you very much, both of you, for making the effort to come in and do this.
It's been interesting.
Good process. It's a way to be involved, and it's not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, any discussion? Further discussion, I should say. Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
Bruce,
No.
Steve,
Yes.
Roger,
How about yes?
Karen,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Yes, you're right. We ended up in a stalemate, yes.
Well, we haven't had this, we haven't had a negative one yet, so why not?
I appreciate that. That's a good, yep, we can't all agree on everything. Okay. That's all she wrote. Everybody, anything else for the good of the order?
So we're going into this, proposing these two proposals, and we're not making a, saying what we favor? Is that, we're gonna just do that after we get comment?
Right. Yep. So this is
Okay.
simply for the public to be able to provide their input and their feedback
Okay.
on the plans themselves. And then you'll have the opportunity to discuss. And again, if you make a decision that night, that's fine. If you don't, you do have until, or the next regular meeting is December 8th. But we do have to put together the actual statement. We have to put together a final statement meeting statutory requirements and the legal description, which would also need to have your approval. And that's what has to be finalized by the end of the year. And then Beth also has to have her precincts finalized by the end of the year. So you could decide November 15th. You could call a special meeting by the end of the month, or you have the regular one on December 8th.
who determines the precincts? Do we all determine the precincts? I do.
You do.
Okay.
You do, but the Board of County Commissioners is the one that sets them.
Yeah. So then you have to get their approval by the end of the year. And so really based on the schedule, they do have 3 meetings in the month of December. They meet December, it'll be December 7th, 21st, and then the end of the year meeting. Yeah, on the 29th. So that could be your last resort of getting them approved if needed. But
And Raphael, you could write the legal descriptions for my boundaries and stuff for my precincts, right? Thank you.
For the precincts, I'm not sure, but for the districts, I will.
But I think you can do it for the precincts. Because I think we'll just have whole precincts. We won't split
Beth,
it up.
we are not talking about precincts right now.
Yes. That is the voodoo that you do so well. That's a quote from Young Frankenstein, in case anybody's wondering. Good. Anyway, beyond that, anything else for the good of the order? Okay, let's adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you.